It is getting harder and harder to keep up with all these records. Schools around the country took to the track for their conference championships, and we were graced with record after record after record. Let's start off with Talitha Diggs from Florida. In that women's 400-meter dash at the SEC Championships, Diggs blasted away to an NCAA and American record of 50.15 seconds. It's really hard to explain how amazing this single performance was. She was on the cusp of breaking the 50-second barrier, something we just saw Femke Bol of the Netherlands do on 2 occasions, most recently when she broke the world record. Like I said, this was a new American record in the event, and it now makes Diggs the equal number 8 all-time in 400-meter history. But this is actually only part 2 of the 400-meter story from this weekend. Just about an hour before Talitha took to the track, we saw Rhasidat Adeleke from Texas, who also represents Ireland, at the Big 12 Championships. And in the 400 meters there, she dropped a bomb with 50.33 seconds in that 400 meters. So when she initially crossed the line, Adeleke was actually the NCAA record holder in the 400 meter dash. She initially took down Kendall Ellis's mark of 50.34 seconds from all the way back in 2018. And by nature of that, she also broke the Irish national record, the one she just set a few weeks ago at 50.45 seconds. She now sits at number 2 in the NCAA though, of course behind Diggs, and she is also number 14 in 400-meter history, world history. But that's not all. Behind Diggs at SECs was Amber Anning of Arkansas, who ran 50.68 seconds also in the 400. That time moved Anning to number 9 in NCAA history, but even more importantly, Anning represents Great Britain, and she now becomes the 3rd fastest woman in British history. Just looking at the landscape of the women's 400 meters right now, it's kind of scary to think what all these ladies, as well as some others, are going to be doing at the NCAA championships. But that's not all. On the men's side in the 400, Elijah Godwin of Georgia took the SEC title in a huge personal best of 44.75 seconds. His previous best before this meet was 45.37 seconds from back in 2021. But this time now makes him number 5 in NCAA history, surpassing guys like Karani James and Frank Curley. But even more significant is that Godwin moves to number 6 in world history. This is a legendary way to set things off in his senior season in the NCAA. Behind him though, in the other 400-meter final heat at SECs, Ja'Cory Patterson of Florida ran 45.05 seconds, just on the cusp of the 45-second barrier, and now Patterson becomes number 15 in NCAA history, slotting himself just ahead of Chris Bailey, who ran 45.09 seconds a few weeks ago. Finally, Ryan Willie, also of Florida, came up for 3rd at SECs with a best of 45.15 seconds. So between Godwin, Patterson, Bailey, and Willie, just like on the women's side, the 400-meter dash is stacked and they'll be completely on fire at NCAA championships in just a few weeks. Let's move over to the other NCAA record though, which was Julien Alfred in that 60-meter dash. Alfred had already been tearing up the track, literally breaking the NCAA record week after week after week. But here at the Big 12 Championships, the big performance finally came. 6.97 seconds in that 60-meter dash, another NCAA record, and for a little bit of context, that now gives Alfred the top 7 60-meter dash performances in NCAA history, 6 of which were done this year alone. That 6.97 also moves Alfred to number 8 all-time in 60-meter dash history, with her name amongst some of the greatest sprinters ever. Alfred is undoubtedly the clear favorite for the title at NCAAs, but there was another amazing 60-meter performance from Samira Moody of USC. Competing out in Seattle, she dropped a time of 7.07 seconds, a huge personal best for her, and moved her to number 3 in NCAA history, only behind Kemba Nelson and Julien Alfred. So yes, again, Alfred is multiple steps ahead of the rest of the field, but don't sleep on Moody along with some others in that field. But that 60-meter dash wasn't it for Alfred. She stepped things up to the 200 and dropped another all-time performance with a time of 22.26 seconds. That makes her number 2 in NCAA history, only behind Abby Steiner's record from last year. I'm kind of actually surprised how overlooked this single performance went. I know we all look at Alfred as a 60-meter, 100-meter runner, but 22.26 is no joke. That moves her to number 4 in the history of the 200-meter dash, world history. This also sets up for a very good matchup between Alfred as well as Favor Ofili from LSU, who ran 22.36 this year. And we should also look out for Rhasidat Adeleke. She ran 22.52 this year, so if she doubles, these three are going to be on fire at NCAAs. And speaking of the 200, let's head over to the men's side where Courtney Lindsay of Texas Tech was in full force this weekend. He dropped a huge personal best of 20.13 seconds in that 200, not only a personal best and an NCAA lead, but also the 4th fastest time in NCAA history, and also the 6th fastest performance in world history as well. Everyone is just taking apart the NCAA and world top lists. He had some company though from around the country where Cameron Miller of Louisville ran 20.27 at the ACC championships, moving him to number 13 in NCAA history. And then also Ja'Cory Patterson of Florida, doubling back from that 400, he managed to run 20.29 seconds, pushing him up to number 15 in NCAA history. Add in Tarsis Oregat's 20.20 from a few weeks back, and we could be seeing an NCAA record taken down in this 200 with all these guys pushing each other to very fast times. Let's go back down to the 60 meters once again, where Terrence Jones of Texas Tech as well ran 6.46 seconds. This was a bit of redemption as last year he supposedly caught a flyer in what looked like a false start and ran the NCAA record of 6.45 seconds. Well, even if that was a flyer, he proved he was no fluke this weekend, running not only 6.46, but also 6.48 seconds in his 60-meter dash. These times are the 4th and 8th fastest performances in NCAA history. There are a lot of guys in the 60-meter dash who can get into the 6.4s, but Jones looks to be the front runner heading into NCAAs right now. Down into the field, let's talk about the long jumps where we first saw Jasmine Moore of Florida hit a huge personal best of 6.91 meters. Not only a personal best and NCAA lead, but she now moves herself to number 2 in NCAA history, only behind the 6.93 from Tara Davis in 2021. Also notable is she had a jump of 6.86 meters in that same series, which is one of the farthest jumps in NCAA history as well. Moore now leads the country in the long jump and the triple jump, and she looks very poised to double back again and win both events at the NCAA championships. But don't sleep on Alicia Hickey of Oregon, as she's been jumping very well and could give Moore a run for her money. On the men's side, we saw a plethora of 8-meter jumps in that long jump. Cameron Crump from Mississippi State got an NCAA lead personal best 8.39 meters. That moved him up to number 5 in NCAA history. I just keep saying this, NCAA history, NCAA history. But behind him was Wayne Pinnock of Arkansas, who hit 8.31 meters in the long jump as well, a personal best, and slots him at number 9 in NCAA history. A huge shout out as well to Kerry McLeod of Arkansas, who hit a jump of 8.19 meters. The long jump definitely gets overlooked compared to the sprints, but these three guys, plus Jeremiah Davis of Florida State, will definitely make this competition extremely exciting at NCAAs. Now, of course, I can always go on forever, but let me just give you a few more highlights from the NCAAs this past weekend. First, in the women's 60-meter hurdles, Masai Russell of Kentucky ran 7.77 seconds, the 2nd fastest NCAA time in history, only behind her own NCAA record of 7.75 from earlier this year. While just behind her, Akira Nugent of Arkansas and Jamaica ran 7.81 seconds, making her the 4th fastest hurdler in NCAA history. Don't sleep on Nugent at NCAA. She could come in and spoil that party. The Alabama men's 4x4 relay ran 3 minutes 1.78 seconds at SEC championships, which makes them the 6th fastest relay team in NCAA history now. Jaden Hubbard of Arkansas and Jamaica as well, his mark of 17.10 meters in the triple jump makes him number 14 in NCAA history. In the 60-meter hurdles, Khaled Dean of Texas Tech ran a personal best of 7.52 seconds. That's number 2 in the NCAA this year and number 11 in NCAA history. So once again, that was a lot, and with all the records that went down, there were certainly a bunch of NCAA performances that fell through the cracks. Stay tuned for a full video tomorrow highlighting some of the pro results that went down this past week around the world. But as always, go in the comments below, let me know any performances that I might have missed from the NCAA in the conferences, and let me know what performance you thought was the best from this weekend. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and be back again next time. Thanks for watching.